The stage lights burned bright as Kelly Hansen gripped the microphone, heart pounding. For 20 years, he carried Foreigner's legacy on his shoulders, night after night, hit after hit. He wasn't the band's original voice, but he became its beating heart, winning over crowds with passion and power. Now, in a twist no one saw coming, Kelly is stepping away from the spotlight. Fans are left stunned, bandmates emotional, and Kelly himself is grappling with the end of an era. Why would a frontman at the height of his prowess walk off the stage he fought so hard to own? This is a story of loyalty and sacrifice, of triumphs and tribulations, and how Kelly Hansen finally reveals the truth behind his departure. In 2005, Foreigner, the rock powerhouse behind hits like Cold as Ice and I Want to Know What Love Is, was desperately searching for a new lead singer. Original frontman Lou Gramm had left, and the band's future hung in the balance. Kelly Hansen, a talented but relatively unknown vocalist from the Los Angeles hard rock scene, answered the call. He sent in a recording of himself belting out Foreigner classics, and his soaring voice immediately caught founder Mick Jones's ear. Soon, Kelly was invited to audition in person. When Kelly launched into Feels Like the First Time at his audition, the band exchanged astonished glances. They knew they'd found their man. His range and passion breathed fresh life into the classic, erasing any doubts that Foreigner's music could live on. Within days, Kelly was officially offered the job. It was a dream come true for him, but also the start of a daunting journey. Kelly's first concert as Foreigner's frontman came just weeks later, at a modest venue in the Las Vegas desert. Backstage, he knew many fans were skeptical and nostalgic for the past. Could this newcomer possibly fill a legend's shoes? When the lights dimmed and the band struck the opening chords, Kelly stepped out to a mix of cheers and cautious silence. Then he began to sing. He hit every soaring note and poured heart into every chorus. Song by song, the crowd's hesitation melted away. By the final encore, the audience was on its feet, roaring with approval. On that very first night, Kelly had passed his trial by fire. Still, as the adrenaline of that first victory faded, Kelly understood it was just round one. He had shown he could deliver the songs, but the shadow of Lou Gramm still loomed large. To truly earn his place, he would have to win over the hearts of devoted fans and step out from that shadow, a challenge that was only just beginning. At first, under Mick Jones's guidance, Kelly hewed closely to Lou's vocal phrasing. He diligently studied Foreigner's records and live tapes, mimicking every signature ad-lib and high note. The goal was to deliver the classics exactly as fans remembered them. For many in the audience, this approach worked. They could close their eyes and almost imagine it was 1978 again. Yet living in another man's shadow took its toll. Emulating Lou so closely meant suppressing Kelly's own style. Offstage, he wondered, was he truly honoring a legacy or just playing the role of an impersonator? Some critics sneered that he was merely a tribute singer fronting a nostalgia act. It stung, but Kelly pressed on. He respected Lou's legacy deeply. How could he not? But he also yearned for the chance to let his own voice shine. As the tours rolled on, cracks appeared in the wall of skepticism. More fans began to acknowledge Kelly's talent in his own right. He grew bolder on stage, injecting his own energy and nuance while still honoring the classic sound. Bit by bit, he was finding his footing as Foreigner's frontman. But how do you truly forge your own identity when every song carries someone else's legacy? That was the next challenge Kelly was determined to conquer. Over the years, Kelly stepped further out of Lou Gramm's shadow and put his own stamp on Foreigner's performances. He injected his personality while honoring the classic sound. On stage, his energy was explosive, running across the stage, high-fiving fans, and belting high notes in a style distinctly his own. Audiences that came for nostalgia found themselves won over by his showmanship and warmth. Gradually, the narrative changed. No longer was it, "Can he fill Lou's shoes?" Now fans wondered if they could imagine Foreigner without Kelly Hansen. In 2009, Foreigner even released a new album of original songs, their first with Kelly on vocals. He co-wrote tracks like "Too Late" and "When It Comes to Love," proving the band could still craft fresh rock anthems with him at the helm. Hearing his own lyrics on a Foreigner record was a proud moment. And the album's very title, "Can't Slow Down," said it all. Foreigner was charging ahead with renewed momentum, with Kelly leading the way. As skeptics turned into believers, even longtime fans came around. Critics noted that Kelly's powerhouse vocals and relentless enthusiasm gave Foreigner new vitality. The band wasn't just coasting on old hits. They ventured to countries the original lineup never played, reaching new audiences in far-off places. On stage, Kelly might pause to thank the crowd or share a personal story, forging a genuine bond. He was no longer the new guy. He had become the voice breathing life into Foreigner's songs for both old and new generations. Through it all, Kelly kept the spirit of Foreigner's music front and center. He treated each classic song with care, always hitting the big notes and inviting the crowd to sing along. Yet he also let his own flair shine through. A playful grin in the middle of a guitar solo, a soulful new twist on a familiar ballad, a heartfelt dedication of "I Want to Know What Love Is" to the audience. By balancing tradition with personality, Kelly cemented his place in Foreigner's legacy. On stage, he was on top of the world. But behind the scenes, the grind of the road was quietly exacting a price. From the outside, touring life looked glamorous. Roaring crowds, encores, adulation. But behind the scenes, Kelly's reality was grueling. Foreigner toured relentlessly, often over 100 shows a year. That meant endless nights in hotel rooms, long bus rides, pre-dawn flights, and very little time at home. While friends and family lived normal lives, Kelly spent birthdays and holidays on stage, or en route to the next gig. He missed countless moments back home, all traded for the bright lights of the stage. The physical toll was another battle. Singing Foreigner's songs night after night is like running a marathon with your vocal cords, and Kelly demanded top performance of himself every show. He often joked, "I'm not a diva, but my voice is," and there was truth in that. Spicy food late at night? Off the menu. Loud parties after the gig? Not if he wanted to sing tomorrow. Even on off days, he avoided talking too much or laughing too hard. He knew one careless shout could mean a cracked note on stage. That discipline kept his performances stellar, but it wasn't easy. Kelly lived a double life, the electrifying frontman on stage and the vigilant caretaker of his voice off stage. While others might celebrate after a show, he often went back to the hotel to rest, humidifier at his bedside. Fans saw the confident rock star basking in applause, but they didn't see the mornings he woke up exhausted or the nights he lay in the dark, worrying if his voice would hold out for the next show. Emotionally, the road wore on him too. Living out of a suitcase for months on end can make anyone feel unmoored. Keeping relationships alive was difficult when he might only be home a few weeks a year. At times, he felt pangs of loneliness even in the middle of a cheering crowd. Still, he pushed those feelings down and gave the fans everything he had night after night. But the endless grind was becoming unsustainable. And it wasn't just Kelly. Within the band, years of non-stop touring were leading to new challenges on the horizon. By the mid-2000s, Foreigner's internal dynamics were shifting. Founding guitarist Mick Jones, now in his 70s, sometimes had to skip performances due to health, leaving no original members on stage. In those moments, Kelly carried the Foreigner banner alone. He had effectively become the face of the band, a remarkable turn of events for someone who once was the newcomer. Years on the road forged a tight bond within the band. Creative decisions became collaborative, and Kelly had a real say in shaping the shows. But everyone knew Foreigner's core appeal was its classic hits. After 2009, they focused on touring those beloved songs rather than recording new albums. Kelly channeled his creativity into keeping each performance fresh, finding new ways to invigorate songs he'd sung hundreds of times. Despite Foreigner's enduring popularity, some recognition still eluded them. Kelly voiced frustration that the band had never been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How could a group with so many hits be overlooked? But industry accolades or not, the band realized their true reward was the audience's adoration. Night after night, fan appreciation meant more than any trophy, and that fueled them to keep striving for excellence on stage. That dedication paid off, and a full-circle moment came in 2017 during Foreigner's 40th anniversary tour. Kelly shared the stage with Lou Gramm and other original members for a few special reunion shows. Past and present united as Lou and Kelly traded vocals on the hits, their voices intertwining to the crowd's delight. In one touching scene, Lou and Kelly embraced on stage, a symbolic passing of the torch. It was an emotional high point for Kelly, and a powerful validation that he had earned his place in the band's story. By the late 2010s, the future became impossible to ignore. Even the youngster Kelly was now approaching 60, and constant touring was getting tougher for everyone. Quietly, the band began to discuss how much longer they could keep going at this pace. They hadn't decided on an end date yet, but they all sensed it on the horizon. Still, as those private conversations unfolded, Foreigner kept delivering on stage. In fact, some of Kelly's most memorable triumphs were still to come, even as the end of an era drew nearer. Over 2 decades, Kelly racked up countless magical moments on stage. He belted out Jukebox Hero for massive festival crowds, hearing tens of thousands sing along under open skies. He also delivered intimate acoustic performances of ballads that left audience members wiping away tears. Night after night, in venues big and small, Kelly made memories for the fans and for himself, etching his own chapter into Foreigner's legacy. Kelly's era with Foreigner was marked by special milestones. In 2013, Mick Jones and Lou Gramm were inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, and Kelly stood by proudly as Foreigner's legacy was honored. In 2018, he led the band in performing with a full symphony orchestra, adding a new grandeur to their sound. And in 2024, at long last, Foreigner was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Kelly stood on stage as the band received its overdue recognition, a triumphant capstone to his years with Foreigner. One touching tradition during Kelly's tenure was inviting a local choir on stage to sing "I Want to Know What Love Is." Night after night, dozens of young voices joined his, creating goosebumps and raising money for charity. Kelly cherished those moments, watching new generations connect with a song older than they were, and feeling music's power to bring people together. Through all these moments, Kelly solidified his place in Foreigner's history. He had helped propel a classic band into a new century, keeping its flame burning brightly. Now, as he approached the end of his run, one final milestone remained, a goodbye that would encapsulate the emotion of that entire journey. The stage was set for a farewell, and Kelly was determined to make it one for the ages. By his early 60s, Kelly felt time catching up with him. Songs that once came easy now demanded more effort. "Some songs are only for the young," he admitted wryly. He could still hit the high notes of "Feels Like the First Time," but it took everything he had. How long could he keep this up? He had always delivered Foreigner's hits at full power, yet maintaining that standard was becoming a battle. Burnout loomed on the horizon. Then 2020 forced an unexpected pause. For the first time in decades, Kelly stayed home for months on end. He discovered the simple joy of a normal routine: home-cooked meals, sleeping in his own bed, leisurely days spent on hobbies. In the absence of constant touring, he felt a peace he'd never known. "So this is what it's like to be home," he thought. After nearly 50 years on the move, he realized he actually enjoyed this quieter life. Maybe he didn't have to chase tour dates forever. He began to consider the once unthinkable, stepping away by choice. No health crisis forced him, he was still strong, but he questioned the wisdom of grinding on indefinitely. Kelly mused that Americans often work until you die, whereas elsewhere, people know when to step back and truly live. After devoting almost his entire life to rock and roll, he felt he'd earned that chance. He longed for simple things: cooking in his own kitchen, unhurried time with friends, waking up with no schedule. Life beyond the stage beckoned, not as something to fear, but as a new adventure. He also knew Foreigner was still at the top of their game, and he wanted their final chapter to reflect that. As the farewell tour neared its end, reality hit hard. One night, Kelly broke down in tears after a show, realizing he might never stand on that stage again. He started taking mental snapshots each night: the sea of faces, the glow of the lights, the sound of the sing-alongs, trying to hold on to each memory. The weight of the impending goodbye was heavy, but it also brought clarity. He would lay down the mic on his own terms, not in defeat, but with pride. Kelly knew it was time. The decision was made. All that remained was to tell the world, and to give the fans one final show they'd never forget. In May 2025, Kelly chose the season finale of The Voice, television's top singing competition, to make his announcement. After Foreigner finished performing a medley of hits on live TV, Kelly held the mic tightly. Standing beside him was guitarist Luis Maldonado, who had occasionally filled in on vocals. Kelly addressed the cheering crowd and millions watching at home. "After 20 incredible years fronting this band, this will be my last year with Foreigner. At the end of this summer, a new great voice will sing these songs for you. My friend, Luis Maldonado." A hush fell, followed by applause mixed with sniffles. Kelly felt a strange cocktail of relief and heartbreak as he spoke those words. Luis stepped forward, and Kelly draped an arm around him, a live passing of the torch. Kelly managed a smile even as his eyes moistened. The crowd rose in a standing ovation, saluting the end of an era and the dawn of a new one. In the following days, Kelly elaborated on his decision. "Being the voice of Foreigner has been one of the greatest honors of my life," he shared, saying it was simply time to pass the mic. He praised Luis's talent and soul, expressing confidence in the band's future. Mick Jones also paid tribute, calling Kelly one of the best frontmen in the business, who had given Foreigner new life over the past 2 decades. Fans across the world posted heartfelt messages, thanking Kelly for the memories, the music, and for keeping the Foreigner flame burning so brightly. With the news out, Foreigner's summer 2025 shows turned into Kelly's farewell tour. Every concert felt more meaningful, Fans arrived knowing it was their last chance to see him on that stage. Kelly poured his heart into each performance, savoring every sustained note and every sing-along chorus. Though he had announced his exit, one monumental moment still lay ahead: the very last concert, where he would take his final bow with Foreigner. On October 11, 2025, in Atlantic City, Kelly stepped on stage for his final show with Foreigner. Every song that night felt charged with emotion. In a moving surprise during the encore, Lou Gramm joined him for one last duet on "I Want to Know What Love Is." Past and present united as the crowd sang along through tears. When the final note faded, Kelly and Lou embraced. Then Kelly took his final bow alone, looking out at the sea of cheering fans and giving a grateful wave. It was the end of an era, captured in one powerful moment. Backstage after that final show, Kelly shed a few tears, but also smiled with satisfaction. 20 years with Foreigner, complete. He had honored the legacy and left on his own terms. He even avoided the word retirement, because for him, it wasn't an ending so much as the start of a new chapter. He made sure people knew he was healthy. This choice wasn't about what he couldn't do anymore, but about what he wanted to do with the rest of his life. After decades in the spotlight, Kelly looked forward to a quieter life. He talked excitedly about simple plans: cooking at home, tinkering with his cars, enjoying unhurried days. "I'm not troubled by living a smaller life," he said, happy to trade loud arenas for peaceful mornings. After years on tour buses and in hotels, he now longed for nights on his own couch and quality time with family and friends. It was time to enjoy the everyday moments he had missed. Kelly is humble, but quietly proud of what he achieved. Some skeptics once doubted Foreigner could thrive without its original singer, but for 20 years it did, with Kelly's voice at the helm. He leaves with his head high, knowing he helped keep Foreigner's flame burning bright for a new generation. And fans remain forever grateful. In his final shows, he thanked them for trusting him with these songs they loved. His chapter with Foreigner has ended, but the music and memories will live on. As Kelly steps into a well-earned, peaceful future, he carries with him the echoes of countless concerts and the satisfaction of a legacy fulfilled. The music, as always, plays on. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications on to never miss a video.